Hey everybody, welcome to The Remedy. Hi, I'm your host, Tony Pantelleresco, and you're listening to us live on the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. And access the show by typing in www.themicroeffect.com and click on the appropriate links, chat room links. Come on in, make friends, get acquainted, solve some issues, save the planet, or help rebuild it, one or the other. Choose which one you want to do. We all live here. I'm also published on several different sites, buybuybluesky.com, brian396.com, gagcanada.com, and throughout the internet, wherever you can find us, find me, whatever. We have information that may be pertinent to what may be going on in your life. I got on the theme about frequencies, and I got on the theme about, different things going on, and how we take for granted some of the things that we even watch on television. I'll give you an example. Television has been used as a form of psychological warfare. A lot of people don't realize this, that when you're watching a television show, a lot of times that television show is inducing a program inside of you that is activating a response mechanism, whether to put you to sleep, to get an emotional response, mental response, a reactive response, a subdued response, but some kind of response. Or to keep you in a state of being mesmerized. And what I mean by that is when you're watching the television and you're just basically on what I call a flatline theme. You're watching the show, you're not reacting, you're not thinking, you're just caught in the moment. You're caught in the drama. You're caught in the screen. You're in the TV. You're on the stage. You are in the hologram that they have provided. And when they get you into this theme, what winds up happening most of the time is you get into this mindset that you're just sort of accepting this. This is basically feasible, doable, blah, blah, blah. But then when it happens, you don't respond. When we see people shooting people up, terrorist activities, we see terrorists on TV and they're killing everybody, they're shooting everybody, they're blowing people up, blowing things up, bringing down buildings, shooting down airplanes, firing missiles at the global imperialistic countries that are out there. We look for the good guy, and what they've got is the knight in shining armor that's going to come and save the day, and is going to turn things back around, and we're going to go back to life as we know it. Biggest theme of bunk ever. We never go back to anything. We get redirected or reshifted to some other platform or program. That's what happens. So what happens is they take that scenario, put it in your mind, and then when you're watching these things happen in front of you, you've been disarmed, you've been disabled, you have been completely made dysfunctional. Because you think you've seen this scenario before, and now you're waiting for somebody to save the day. Superman's coming with the red, white, and blue flag. The European Union is coming with the red, white, and blue flag. The Allies are coming to save the day, to stop that evil terrorist that's going to take over the world and shut down Walmart and Kmart and Target and McDonald's and all the things that you connect freedom to. They're going to protect your way of life so you can keep on going to Walmart and McDonald's and continue to die from genetics. That's what's been done. So then what happens is, as these themes transpire, and we see all this sci-fi stuff on television, we get impressed. I get impressed. I watch some of this stuff, phaser beams and sonic disruptive weaponry, and, now we got the swarm that's out there that can target your DNA and take you out and leave your neighbor behind. And, we get all these things. And I do get fascinated by the imaginations of the military that comes up with this stuff. I'm not impressed with it. I'm amazed. I'm also entertained, and I'm amused by it. But the difference between me is I see these things as realistic a reality, and they're here. Most people, because they get subjected to the television hypnosis, think in terms of, oh, ah, ee, ooh, man, ooh, that kind of thing. So when these things do start to manifest in the real world, you don't think that this could happen. This is how they get everybody bamboozled. They keep everybody in a state of hypnosis. Now let's take a look at sonogenetics, or sound technology, or sonic warfare. Okay, we all know about the voice-to-head technology, the DARPA N3 programs, the Lilly programs, and all these programs. But what if I told you that they were actually causing brain damage to all of us right now? Right now. That they were causing us all brain damage. And they've been doing this since the 60s. Gotta tell you, this is why so many of you are having problems staying focused. This is why so many of you are having problems trying to remember who you are, what day you're in. This is why so many are having so many problems even getting when you get out of bed, to even get your head back on the channel so that you can focus through the day. It's like that song, year 2525, you won't have a word to say. It's all in the pill you took today. That's where it's going, a programmed response mechanism that they're going to induce in people, and it's already happening. When you tell somebody those are chemtrails in the sky, oh no, man, those are condensation trails. Oh yeah, condensation, yeah. They don't know what a condensation trail is. And for those of you who are born in the 50s like myself, and look up in the sky and tell me that's a condensation trail, you deserve a swift kick in the pants. You know the difference, okay? But again, if you've allowed yourself to be reduced or seduced to this level of stupidity, then you deserve what's coming. We all know that back in the day when we used to see a condensation trail, it didn't linger in the sky. It was basically vaporized within moments after it left the airplane. We all used to see it. As we look up in the sky, you see a little white little line, bloop, gone. That was condensation. Anyway, point is that we are being subjected to frequencies all day long. And they're using a blue beam frequency, just like they do with the light. And again, it gets into the head, causes the brain to alter, causes things to happen. And you guys all think you're hearing these buzzing noises and these pitches and these high tones and these wong wong noises. You think you're hearing that. You're not hearing that. That is what your brain is interpreting and sending through the cochlea of the ear. You have to understand that what we're dealing with today is beyond belief carnage. They are trying very hard to cause brain damage, ocular damage, to incapacitate you so you can't think, incapacitate your pineal. You got all these goofballs saying, oh, it's a calcium deposit from fluoride. My backside. What you got going on now? Hey, Marco, you made it. Hey, I thought you had an engagement. Okay. Private joke between me and DeMarco. Anyway, when we're looking at how they're disarming the pineal, they're putting nano biotech in the pineal area. They have broken down the calcium in our bodies through using fluoride and silica. And then what's happening now is they're assembling these particles in different parts of our body, so that we assemble units, we assemble implants, we can assemble networks, we can assemble fullerenes, we can even assemble what's called a mimetic. A mimetic. Can you dig that? You know what a mimetic is? Anybody have any idea what a mimetic is? A mimetic, for those of you who don't know, is something that can look like or appear to look like or resemble something else, but is something else. That made a lot of sense, I'm sure. Let's say we have a parasite, okay? And you have something that is in the body that can appear to look like a parasite, but it may not be a parasite. It may be what's called a mimetic, something that may look like a parasite and function like one because it's on an operating system to replicate the conduct of whatever is in there. So if a medical practitioner was to actually look at this, they'd say, oh, you got a parasite, you got XYZ parasite because it looks like this, looks like that. But in all reality, what you have is a duplicate or a mimetic that has been programmed. That's has been programmed to act in the same fashion as a parasite. I was laughing because I saw a comment in the chat room and it just made me laugh. Anyway, in thinking about what's going on now, we talked about this in the past where we're hearing these buzzing noises. When I do my shows, you won't believe this. I could have a moment of quiet until about 5 minutes before the show. Then the frequencies go off the chart. High pitch, high resolution frequencies are just constantly. And then when the show is over, I got to tell you, the frequencies subside substantially. I think somebody else is listening. Maybe it's the AI. Who knows? I made the big time. AI is tuning in. When we're getting hit with these frequencies constantly, okay, it is basically disrupting not only the brain, the heart, the liver, the lungs, the kidneys, the digestive system, the DNA, the genetic code, the immune system, the skeletal structure. You're constantly being vibrated at a certain resonance, which can cause problems to you, with you, throughout the day. And this is creating a hyper acceleration of damage. Now, that's just the frequencies by themselves. Let's add something else to the equation, shall we? Because we all have this in us at this stage. We can add nanobiology or nanotechnology or nanobiotech. What happens when the biotech inside of you receives a frequency, an activation frequency, a deactivation frequency, a construction frequency, a targeting frequency? What happens when these particles receive these frequencies? You start to break down more rapidly, because now those frequencies are telling these particles to incorporate themselves with your DNA through XNA, PNA, LNA, and other forms of nucleic acids that they may be attached to them. They also then will increase their attachments to your double helix. So if you've got any strands of your DNA broken down, these things will then attach themselves to where it's broken and start to assemble to resemble your helix by using XNA. And incorporating that into your helix, they can now add whatever program that the frequency can modulate into your body. Now, there are things that can resonate at a high frequency. Carbon is one. Silica is another. And initially, when they started poisoning the food supply, they started putting nanosilica in all our food. Then they turned around and sold it to the people in the health food industry. Hey, this is good for you. It's good for your hair and nails. This is good for this and that. This is great. This will even pull out blah, blah, blah. All horse hockey. If you can't break it down, then what happens is whatever doesn't come out of you will relocate throughout your body through what they call a translocation process. It can penetrate your organs, it can penetrate your tissues, it can penetrate your cells, it can penetrate anything, your organs, and lodge themselves in those areas, waiting for more material to construct and then further break you down. And by having these things construct inside your body, they can create all kinds of things, mimetics, circuits, crystals, origami, quantum dots, bots, you name it, they can assemble it. All they need is a frequency. And some of you are saying at this point, Tone, You need to lay off the brandy. You got to quit doing those doobs. You got to quit taking those drugs. Got news for you. I don't do any of that. I do the brandy once in a while, but I don't do the rest. This is reality. Brian 396 and myself talked about this 8 years ago, and we're expressing this 8 years ago. And to this day, we still are telling people this is how this assembly works. Now, I have found a repository of a library that's also explained more and more about this nano in great detail. So I haven't had a chance to look at a lot of the information yet, but I'm going to. And as I find out more and the details, because the devil's in the details, then we can start looking at maybe a better and more effective way of getting these things out. Whatever you do with this technology, don't attack it directly. Do not hit it with spookies, rifes, tenses, or any kind of zapping device. All you will do with this is you will make it change its morphology or its construct. It will become something else. It will activate and do other things, and then your attacks will become completely useless. You cannot lock onto it whatsoever. If you take anything out initially, it might be a biofilm, which is maybe may have initiated its adhesion to the particles, but if it's not solidly connected with it yet, you will knock that out. But after the third attempt, you will no longer be able to use that particular frequency. It will have altered its capacity to be affected by it. We are talking with something that has a terabyte of data per particle. We're talking about something that can, with just a minor adjustment to a dial, can do something completely different. We are talking about something that can have such a high level of energy transference, like carbon. Carbon does not have any resistance to it whatsoever. It's a superconductor. This superconductance will allow it to transfer whatever energy you put to it. It can increase heat volume by up to 10,000 times. Now, because it's on a nano scale, you don't think nothing of it. But when you feel something go through and go zap, that's because you have overloaded the capacity for it to handle. And that takes something extremely powerful like an EMP of some kind. You have to disengage this by shutting off its program. That's the only way that I know of, that I've come to see anyway, without causing any more exponential replication, duplication, or networking that this thing can do. So when we're talking sound, we're talking frequencies, we are also talking programs. Programs that people can be effective with. You could be driving down the road hearing these high-pitched frequencies or low hums or buzzes, and by the time you get to wherever it is you've got to go, you may have forgotten why you went there in the first place. Or when you get there, by the time you get there, you're in one heck of a bad mood. You wake up and you're moodier and you're ready to, someone says the wrong thing to you and you're ready to let them go. You're just going to give them what for. That's because you've been agitated and have had your chemistry altered in the brain so that now you're responsive in the manner that has programmed you. Or the other way around, which has happened in instances which has happened in the United States and throughout Europe and other places, where you've had crowd control. People that were protesting things that were wrong and were being violated. This is why you don't see protesters anymore, because they're using these sonic technologies or these sonic devices to disperse crowds that may be protesting against something that a politician is trying to push in or endorse. This is going on all over. So when we're looking at some of the health aspects of what's going on, a lot of this is being triggered. A lot of this is being activated on purpose to again manipulate the general population. So for your homework assignment for next week, find out what can neutralize sonic warfare. What can neutralize acoustics? What can neutralize the programming? Do the hunt. Okay, start to think. You are not going to take out synthetic biology by natural means. Not going to happen. All you can do at best is slow it down until it adapts and takes over whatever you're doing. You know. So, can you make, what is it? What's going on here? Can it make you extra sleepy? Of course. Of course. It can control all your autonomic function. You got to remember, you've got access. They've got access to your DNA. They got access to the particles they put inside of you. They got access to the networks that have already been built in you. Well, sure, it can zap your energy. Of course it can zap your... Look, when your body is fighting to... Okay, I'll give you another example. How many of you, when you're ready to go to bed, you're tired, you've been tired, and you said, you know, I had enough. I'm hitting the sack. I'm going to bed. And then the moment you get into bed and you lay down, all of a sudden now you can't sleep. You're wide awake. You got all this energy. Like, where the heck does this energy come from? 10 minutes ago, I could barely keep my eyes open. I could barely watch the computer. I could barely read what was on there. I could barely watch television. I could barely hear the radio. I could barely get off the chair. I had to peel my backside with a scraper. You know, now you hit the bed and kaboom, wide awake. Can't sleep. You're up and ready. You're ready to get up again. And then the moment you get up for a couple of minutes, you're ready to fall asleep. And you get back to bed, you can't sleep. That's the game they're playing with you. That's the game they're playing with you. That's the targeting sequence that they do on purpose to cause further disruption to your DNA. If your rest cycle is disruptive, you cannot form growth hormones, which can then regenerate the body, or the regenerating hormones that are required for your body to come back around, to wake up refreshed and renewed. The only thing you can do at this point is you have to create a shielding mechanism inside your room. See where we're at? I'll start off talking about it now because we're coming into a commercial in a couple of minutes. So I will start talking about this now. Some of the ideas that I have done that I've seen work. I'll initiate them with you so that you can make the attempt to do the same thing. You can build yourself a Faraday cage, or you can go get some aluminum shielding that you can buy on Uline. They have it for using for refrigerated units. You can glue them or staple them together to a tarp, put one on one side, one on the other side, and so that they're connected. You can hang several tarps up so that they're joined by a aluminum piece of tape if you want. So if you want to take it down, you can. You don't have to, you can just put 2 nails on the wall because it's light enough where you can, put them up there. And you can put them all around your room and then connect them together so they form a circuit and then run them into a ground. The stuff is going to get in, it's going to penetrate, but when it hits this material, a lot of it will be dispersed away from you. One thing you can do. Another thing you can do is you can create what they call a bifilar coil or a pancake coil. You can then hang them on the walls, put them beside you, above your head, below your bed, and you can connect them to either a flash drive or a timing device, to a capacitor and to a power supply, so that they will pulse all night long. As they create this pulse, they put a bubble around you so that the bubble will again act as a deflector. Now, there's been some talk that if you put something like that, it can bounce around in the field and cause problems for you. I have yet to see that to be the reality. What I find, though, the bouncing effect does occur. But what I haven't seen yet is the damage that this is supposed to do. I actually sleep a lot better. I sleep deeper. And I'm finding I only need about 3 or 4 hours sleep these days. I'm amazed at it myself. That I get up, I'm good to go, I'm refreshed. I always wake up with a mood. I look around me and think, crap, I'm still here. No. But anyway, I'm hoping to wake up one day and everything's gone. Everything's changed, everything's back to, or everything's better than it was before. So that's another thing you can do. Another thing you can do is get these powerful fans that you use for computers. And what you can do is put magnets on the blade, and then attach magnets underneath on the corners of the fan, and then mount them onto a metal piece of something that they can be attracted to a metal piece, and have them running as well at the same time. And if you put them on a couple of those bifilar coils, they actually augment the field effect. Now, when you got all these things going, you got several different frequencies going on at the same time. You got several different bubbles happening, several different pulses happening, and you got shielding happening. And this in of itself can create a shielding. One thing today is not going to be enough. And the next thing we got to start looking at now is a mirror technology to deflect the lasers that these frequencies are going to be using to transmit across the ground to the phones. Everybody's going to be using 5G, is going to be using laser technology, and that laser can be beamed to the tower, and anything in the line of fire of that tower will get wiped out. Tony, does living in an aluminum trailer relatively safe? Only if you ground it, squirrel. That has to be grounded. I've had a lot of people using aluminum shielding above their bed to block anything coming from above. And what happens is, over a period of time, once that piece of aluminum gets charged up, it literally will crackle with energy. So you have to have somewhere for that energy to go. So let's say you get a piece of wire and you scrape a little bit of the paint, if you got any paint on the thing there, or find a piece of metal, say even if the bottom's got steel, connect it with either a wrapping material or tape it on or whatever, and then stick it and run it so far away from the trailer, stick it into the ground. Now it has somewhere to go. But the aluminum is not going to be completely enough. Tony, I want to know what you eat and drink in a day. Food and beverages, just like anybody else. I draw the energy from the air. Ooh. Maybe one day, but not today. Guys want to know what I eat. I eat just whatever it does. I eat cheese. I eat cottage cheese. I eat ricotta. I eat meat of some kind. I eat mostly poultry, some egg. I'll have potato in some form, baked potato, mashed potato, even fried potato. But then but when I'm cooking the potato, I'm mixing it with garlic and onion and turmeric. So if there's something in that potato that ain't happy. If I'm cooking my poultry, it's also cooked in a vinegar. I use white vinegar. Come on back and we'll get into this and we'll get more going on what's going on. Talk to you in a bit. Hey everybody, we are back. We are back to the remedy. Hi, I'm your host, Tony Pantelresco, and you're listening to us live on the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network. During the break we had some questions going on how to ground and whatever. So yeah. Okay. Okay, Squirrel, use an auger. Instead of digging, just use an auger. All you got to do is just twist it down into or a jackhammer. That's it. Either one. You don't have to dig. We were talking about running a ground from the trailer, attaching it to the trailer and then running it down. And again, the farther away you are, you don't have to go quite as deep, but if you're really close, you need at least 6 feet or more. And instead of digging, you either use an auger or take the pipe and hammer it into the ground. Just keep on hammering it until you get down. If you got a 6 foot pipe, it's probably all you would need. And once you get it into the ground, take another pipe and just keep pounding on that one until you drive the copper further in. Or again, you get a jackhammer or an auger and just auger the ground where you can put a hole in there. And once you get it in there and you get it in far enough, then you can probably pound it. Even if the thing contorts and twists inside the earth, it doesn't matter. As long as it's got somewhere to go. Yeah. You know, I think, to be honest with you, now this is going to be, I'm going to rule this one again. Every time I give you guys information, I can't find anything anymore. Get the microwaves. Okay, microwaves, old televisions. I was at a secondhand store yesterday, and they had this little miniature television. It was like, you know, one of those little 4-inch, 5-inch screens, and I bought it for $10. This thing's got about $100 worth of electrical equipment in there. It's got coils, it's got a flyback transformer, capacitors. You can take a soldering gun, take that all out, and you got now raw material to build stuff. Microwaves are great. You got high power transformers. You got capacitors in there. You got the magnetron. If you don't know how to use a magnetron, you can take it apart and get the magnets out of it. It's got a bunch of circuits in the circuit board. By all means, you should be again gutting these things. They're going to come in handy up the way. You know, we have anything electrical from the good old days. You may want to start scavenging these parts. You may be surprised what you can do with capacitors. You may be surprised what you can do with induction coils. And if you don't know anything about this stuff, learn it. Learn it. Learn it. Look, in any form of education or self-education, you go with the flow. You take it bits and bytes at a time. That's it. Rome wasn't built in a day. You've already been through enough crap in this life, so it's going to take you a little bit of time to adjust your brain to something new. Go with it. Every time you do something new, your brain stays alive and active. It's that much harder for artificial intelligence to get into your head. It's like, what the heck? This person's not getting dumber, they're getting smarter. What's happening here? Oh, geez, that kind of thing. You know what I mean? We need to really get this happening with everybody so that everybody is getting interactive with each other. We're at war. If anybody hasn't figured this out yet, we are at war. And whatever is warring against mankind really, really, really hates us. And there is no compromise with this thing. It is setting out to turn mankind into mush. That's what it's doing. Starfire, there's been some research that's come out now that they've been able to, with pinpoint accuracy, be able to deflect frequencies coming at a dish, and they can pinpoint directly where it comes from within 1%. So in other words, if you could come up with a trampoline, what I call a trampoline effect, where a beam comes down, hits your field, your frequency, and you can send it right back where it came from, you would disarm their technology. Literally. It would cause a feedback that would cause major damage to their systems. So this is something you guys like to, you got to start thinking. When you watch television, when I watch television, I get ideas. I don't pay attention. I do pay attention to the entertainment factor to some degree because they're trying to tell me something. But I look at all the tech stuff. That's what I look at. Oh, look at that! That's a good idea. I can build that. I can build something just like that and put it to work. Put it to work. I've been working on nano infections for a long time. And I'm always coming up with some kind of new, more effective way to get this stuff out of us. So I came up with something I call it the collider. Where I got two fields going in opposite directions inside the system. One going up, one going down, or one pushing in, one pulling out. And the fields hit, and whatever's in the path of those fields usually goes kapui. Today I blew out a implant. I had an implant in my forehead, another one, and I blew it out the other day. It came out, and I was like, oh, look at that. This has been sitting there for how long now? But it was completely cooked. So that's what I mean. We can all interact on this, come up with solutions, and then just distribute it to everybody. As long as everybody gets on this, and we keep distributing this kind of information, what we can do, how we can defend, it's always going to be upgraded. You're going to always have to keep upgrading, because they're going to keep upgrading. They're not going to stay where they are. It's going to be almost like you're going to be chasing your own tail kind of thing. But that's the way it is. I didn't make the games. I didn't make the rules. I just have to play it. So the way I look at it is, if I can play the game and get ahead of the game a little bit, then I'll do so. If I have to play catch up for a while, I'll do so. But we are always going to be in a constant state of flux. That's called evolution. That's called growing. That's called non-stagnating life. You are moving in a direction. You're not sitting on your backside becoming a marshmallow. Okay? And some of you, I know a lot of you don't like change. I'm one of those people that I enjoy a certain type of routine as well. But this thing doesn't care. It follows your routines, it understands your routines, and then decides to take you apart bit by bit, because you don't change the routine. Yeah, if you could get a collaborative group of people in the neighborhood and take the energy that you're collecting from the solar panels and fire them through an antenna and shoot them back up into the sky, I think you might have a black helicopter or two showing up. Or you'll hear X-File music. Dee 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 dee. Imagine that. They're hitting you with a blue beam, and then you're turning around hitting them with a solar beam. Hey, you gave me the technology. This is a great idea. I can fight back. Dee 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 dee. Brainstorm. If you can come up with an idea, that's great. It may take time to figure out how to manifest it. So what? It takes time. Just do it. You might be the one that solves the problem. With all the information that Brian 396 has put out there, all the information I've put out there, all the information that Bye Bye Blue Skies put out there, all the information that other people put out there, a guy named Dolson in Montreal, you've got a lot you can work with. It's not like you're now walking blindly in the dark. And some of you know electronics and electricity, so you guys could, even help guys like me and other people come up with it. If you can make a zapper, a stunner, and have that on you all the time, one of the things you can do with the stunner, this is another thing that you can do to shut down the frequency for a short period of time, is fire that in the air. Walk around the room, walk around your house, and let that zapper zap. You're creating an electrical discharge or a lightning storm, which will shut down frequencies. And for about 5 to 10 minutes, you're not going to hear a sound. You're not going to hear nothing, because you've ionized the air where the frequencies cannot get through. If you can build yourself a Jacob's ladder or a Tesla coil or anything that can create a discharge, do so. If you can hook it up on a timer where every 20 minutes or every half hour or every hour it goes off, you are going to keep on ionizing the air to a point where you'll start seeing those nanoparticles in the air become heavy dust on the floor. So I'll give you another little tidbit about nano. Back in the 60s, the United States had factories that were spewing out all kinds of crap, polluting everything. And what they did was they figured out to reduce the pollution in the air, if they put static scrubbers inside the stacks, which were running at about 220,000 volts each one, they could literally break down the particle matter to something that was inert. In other words, they would cook the toxins. You would still get the dust, but you wouldn't have the toxicity that went with it that would cause the cancers. You would still get cancer just because of the volume of dust you were breathing. Now take that principle and put it in your home. Having a static charge go off every so often. Sort of like, remember those mosquito zappers, you know, those little blue light, another blue light thing, you know, because mosquitoes are attracted to blue light, they tell us. I think that was a lot of bunk. I think maybe the mosquitoes would have been attracted to anything, but they had that beaming at us. Zap, zap, zap. You know, that kind of thing. A bug zapper may work, Sheila, but it may not put out enough charge. Depending on the state you're living in, you can buy them for like about $10, 10 million volt zapper. You plug them into the wall, they're rechargeable. Take them out, walk around, zip, 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 zip throughout their house. You'd be surprised how those frequencies go. See, I got the idea by watching God. You know, people say, you watch God? Yeah, I watch God. See, God creates lightning and thunder. Well, he used to anyway. Now it might be these dumbasses. But anyway, God created lightning and thunder when he created the hot and cold air masses to hit and create a electrical storm or electrical discharge. When an electrical discharge goes off, all frequencies get wiped out. Zoom! Nothing. Television signals drop, radio signals drop, CBC, everything drops. You know, anything on a bandwidth goes right out. It completely ionizes the air where nothing can move. So I thought, well, why don't we do the same thing indoors? I can't make a difference outside because outside is outside, right? But indoors, we can make a difference. If we create these kind of technologies inside, if we can replicate what God does in nature, then we can do something similar in our homes. See, that's the idea. That's how I think sometimes. So when we're looking at what some of the things we can do, some of the things that we can do, this is another option that's at your availability. Now there are videos out there where you can go, again, we can go get a microwave transformer, hook it up to two metal rods, activate it, and you can create a discharge called a Jacob's ladder. And that you can create a static discharge in the home, which would then cause a high level of ionization in the house, which would stop some of these frequencies. And if you could set that up so that would go off on every hour on a timer, turns on and goes for about 5 minutes and then shuts off, you could have a perpetual static discharging going on in the home. Now mind you, got to be careful with that one because that does put out a high amount of juice and it can cook you if you touch it. So you don't want to fool with it that way. Just make sure you set it up. It's out of reach, out of sight for young people who, oh, look at that, that kind of thing. Or you can build something like a Tesla tower, or you can build a series circuit with these transformers, a flyback or whatever, and where you have two wires where they're only so far apart, which when you turn them on will create the same kind of charge. Anything that's going to create an electrical static charge, a high-powered one, will disrupt the air and the ions in the room. Okay, so you got toroidal fields that you can create with fans, and that's basically you get a little fan, put magnets on the blade, and then I get these little square fans. They're about 6 inches by 6 inches or 5 inches by 5 inches, whatever, and I glue magnets underneath them, and I get them going, and as they create what they call a toroidal field or a bubble. So I'll have them running as well. So you got that going. You're running a discharge. You got it happening. Now another thing you can try as well is you can get a singing bowl. Doesn't matter what key. And you can set up a tower system where the bowl is sitting and the magnets are holding it in place, sitting in a coil. So when you turn on say you connect it to a flash unit and a power supply, and maybe a capacitor or resistor, because you can overload the flasher. As that flasher flashes, it's creating a pulse to that bowl, and as you're playing your bowl or you're turning the bowl, it'll create a wah-wah effect, again a multiple frequency that's going out there. After 5 minutes of that, guess what? The room is dead silent. You created so many multiple waves in the room that nothing's getting through until that disperses. So we have options that we can do. Uh, so yeah. So again, we got to think a little bit. Okay, we are at war. Guns and bombs are only going to be a smallest part of the equation. If I get hit with a sonic weapon, my gun is useless. My bombs are useless. My armor is useless unless the armor can absorb frequencies, or it can disperse frequencies or deflect frequencies. So if you don't have that kind of tech in your head, in the thought that when they're coming for you, they're not going to come for you with tanks and militia. They're going to come at you with frequencies. You've got everything in your home where they can attack you. The lights are in your home. The blue beams are coming through that way. You're getting the frequencies coming from the towers, from your cell phone. You're getting them coming from your iPad, from your computer, from your modems. If you got the wireless modems, you're getting them that way. They've already got you by the credentials. They've already got you by your credentials. So unless you remove that tech from your house or shield that tech so it can't be accessed, you have already been invaded. And they've already got a foothold in your fort. So you got to start thinking in those terms. You can't think that, I got me a 30-06 goes for 10 miles with 50 caliber goes for 100 miles. I got this tank. It ain't gonna work that way. If they turn those towers on, it won't matter what you've got. You won't even be able to see it. You won't even be able to hear it. You won't even be able to feel it. They can shut off everything. So that's where we're at today. And this nano they put inside of us, this nano was designed to embed itself inside of our system so that we could be violated with these type of technologies. They can be activated to turn off your autonomous nervous system. They can be activated to affect your brain, where you might think your buddy beside you may be an alien or something. How many of you guys have seen the movie World War Z or World War Z? If you haven't seen it, you might want to take a look at it. It gives you an idea that what could happen if a frequency activates a genetic code into a person, turns on a virus that may be lodged in the person, or create a virus within the person, create a virus. It can be done using frequencies. You've got the nano assembly inside your body. You can create a virus and all of a sudden take you over and turn you into something you were never meant to be. Can you imagine that? A programmed person that can be altered by a frequency. That's why it's imperative that we remove this material out of our system so there's no access point to get to us. But you should watch that, because they make the comment, they don't know where it came from, they don't know how it got started, but everybody was getting infected. Okay, so when we're looking at what's going on today, just pay attention to the tech. Pay attention. Don't listen to the tech that is good for you and we're going to heal people. We're going to be the humanitarian on the planet. We're going to fix everybody. Oh man, we got this new tech that's going to solve everything. And this is for the good of mankind and good for humankind and good for this kind and that kind and all kinds. That's what the sales pitch is. Everything that they develop is weaponized. Everything. And what little technology we get that has some sort of positive effect, you can bet your backside it's already in the field being used to kill people. So again, don't get sucked in to the cartoons on YouTube, these cartoon NASA, cartoon DARPA, cartoon, CIA operations, cartoon Zionist operations, cartoon Mossad operations, cartoon papal operations, cartoon queen operations. These are cartoons to entertain you, to suck you in. That's all they're about. Sucking you in, turning you into something you're not, programming you to accept their methods or methodologies, disarming you, making you dysfunctional. And you already got the materials inside you that can do this. All right, I'm always talking about the Micro Effect Broadcasting Network, about the need to support and keep them going, keep them flowing. By all means, don't ask what your activists can do for you. Act what you can do for your activists. So ask the Micro Effect how you can help. What do you say? You got byebyebluesky.com, brian396.com, gagcanada.com, augmentinforce.com, all there with information that may help you save the day for you. Check the sites out, incorporate them into your knowledge base, download the data, do what you can, help and share the data. Share it with everybody you know. On my site, augmentinforce.com, there is a catalog link where you can go and access and see what's there for you that might help you with your health. I think the other sites also have a place where you can donate to, whatever form or fashion they're using. So check them out, see what happens, see what you can do. If you need a consultation, I'm well aware I can do that. In the catalog link, we have buckets, repulsors, flash drives, books, all kinds of things. So check things out. Do what you see what's there. If you're interested, give me a shout. 519-977-5351 or independz@yahoo.com. INDEPENDZ@yahoo.com. We are here, baby. This is 2018. We are not in 2007. We are not in 1967. We are not in 1957. That's when all the trouble started, when they started, exasperating the issues right in that decade. We're not in 1947. We are not in 1937. We are not going to be able to go back to the way things were. We are going to have to tear this all down and get it back the way it should have been going in the first place. This is all about our evolution, our development, our capacity to become more like God. Not to get caught up in this swamp hole, or crap hole that I call it, and get caught up in these experiments that are going on and against mankind. We're at war. We are at war. You're going to start seeing, and I've said this before, famine. If you're buying food now, and by the time you get it home, the next day it's gone moldy, that's frequency activation. When it was in the store, that was frequency deactivation. When you took it home, it got activated and went bad on you. Okay, that's a method, it's a sabotage or a Trojan horse method. You buy the food, take it home, kaboom, it's done. I find that with most fruit and most vegetables that are out there. I bought kiwi from New Zealand, got home, no good. I bought grapefruit from Israel, not a thing, not a mark on it. By the time I got home the next day, the whole bag went moldy. Why? Why would that do that? Perfect grapefruit, not a mark on them. 24 hours later, mold all over them. That's not normal. And if you've been having that kind of experience, then you know that your food is being tampered with frequencies as well. Shield your food if you can. Shield it. Put it in the fridge, put it in a freezer, or put them in some kind of box that has a grounding capacity that can disperse frequencies. It's imperative that you start thinking that, you are being taken out. One way or another, you are going to go. As George Carlin says, they've got a party, you're not invited. So make your own party and don't invite them. That's how you have to think. We're going to have a party, they're not invited. That's how you got to think. That's the way it is. That's how it is. That's why it is. Okay? So, like I said, they have violated us since the 60s. Organics doesn't really exist. Chemtrails have neutralized that. Nanosilver has neutralized that. Glyphosates have neutralized that. Nanosilica has neutralized that. The smart dust and smart sensors have also neutralized that. You're eating that. That's what they've done. That's embedded in you, gives everything and everybody free and clear access to you through your DNA and through the circuitry and through this technology. It's important that you understand how this works. So when you're looking at how they are violating you, okay, you get it. You will then get it. You'll get that they have, this is what they're doing, and then you can get what to do, how to do it, how to defend, and how to fix it. Like I said, we got to look at this thing from a whole different perspective. Whole different ball game. They're coming at you with a whole different method and different technology, different wavelengths, different frequencies, through light and sound they are hitting us. I hear the music. Okay, have a good weekend. Till then, you know your assignment. Find out how to negate sonic weaponry. All right, talk to you a bit. Have a good week.